It is 10:10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It is the 24th day of April 2024. Holy shit. Is that a palindrome? 424 2024. No, not quite. Not quite a palindrome. But it is a palindrome show because this is episode 888 of Bitcoin, and this is going to be we got all kinds of shit going on today. So we're just going to jump right into it. However, Circle P is definitely open for business, and today I'm bringing you the Leathermint at theleathermint.com. That's right, theleathermint.com. If you want some high quality, stylish, and functional goods that are hand stitched, you need to go over to theleathermint.com. That is the Leathermint, MINT.com, all one word. You can get a hold of them over there at Leathermint on Nostr and on Twitter, or otherwise known as Dead Bird Site, at the Leathermint. Coupon code. They gave me a coupon code. So if you want 10% off of your purchase of any of their leather goods, you need to put Bitcoin and, all one word, into the coupon code, the little box that they give you when you're buying your stuff. If you need a new wallet, dude, get one from these guys. You need some signing hardware device protection. Well, these guys have that too. You can step into the world of the Leathermint where luxury meets everyday essentials. Discover our latest collection of stylish, functional, and high-quality leather goods. From sleek signing device apparel to elegant belts, wallets, and passport holders, each piece is handcrafted for those who appreciate sovereignty and style. Don't just wear accessories. Make a statement with the Leathermint. Visit us now and embrace the craftsmanship that sets you apart. So I've got the leathermint.com's website up here. Hold on for a sec. Yeah, leathermint.com, theleathermint.com. I've got their website up here to show some people that are over there in zap.stream. The live chat, what kind of high quality stuff that they have. I'm not just going to leave it up here for a while we get the morning started. Good morning. Oh my God, red dildos. We got all kinds of stuff going on today, but we're going to start with the Russians. That's right, the Russians. And I'm honestly surprised it took them this long to do this. But this is a story out of Reuters, right? So payback is a bitch, and karma is also a bitch. Russian court it orders the seizure of J.P. Morgan Chase funds in VTB lawsuit. This came out today. A Russian court has ordered the seizure of funds in J.P. Morgan Chase bank accounts in Russia. Court filing showed on Wednesday in a lawsuit filed by state-owned bank VTB as it seeks to regain funds blocked from abroad. JP Morgan Chase last week sued VTB in New York to halt its efforts to recover $439.5 million from an account that was blocked after Russia dispatched its army to Ukraine in 2022 and VTB was hit with sanctions. JP Morgan Chase declined to comment on the Russian court's interim measures. VTB did not immediately comment on Wednesday. It has previously declined to comment on its legal disputes with JP Morgan Chase. The Arbitration Court of St. Petersburg and the Leningrad region's ruling was dated April 2nd. The court said it had ordered the seizure of all funds in JP Morgan bank accounts in Russia, including correspondent accounts and those open name of a subsidiary. The court said it had not seized securities and property held by JP Morgan funds or the jpmorgan.ru domain. In a complaint filed in federal court in Manhattan earlier this month, JP Morgan described VTB's attempt to recover the money in Russia as a blatant breach of its agreement to have disputes addressed in New York. The largest U.S. bank said U.S. law prohibits it from releasing $439.5 million, and VTB, Russia's second largest bank, will try to seize assets or its assets abroad if it prevails in the Russian lawsuit. It said VTB's prospects there were good. with Russian courts having granted at least 6 other Russian banks release against U.S. and European banks that were required to comply with sanction laws. It's okay, so that's the gist of what's going on today. And honestly, just it makes me laugh. I can't help but to laugh at this entire thing. One, I'm really surprised that it took them this long to go after United States interests that were still in. And second, the entire notion that there's actually 3 things. The entire notion that the West, United States included, European banks got together to essentially steal Russia's money out of the international banking system. Right? They just seized it. Now, again, I'm not exactly thrilled that Putin decided to invade Ukraine, but I'm not thrilled with the fact that Ukraine is clearly a United States and European money laundering operation and has been since the Clinton administration in the United States starting in 1991. That's what Ukraine, when people say, what is the strategic importance of Ukraine to the West? And people say it's grain production. No, that's bullshit. The strategic importance of Ukraine is a backwater money laundering facility for banks of the United States and Europe. End of story, period. That's what it is. It's there's some other things that go along with it. The candlestick, the absolute centerpiece of what Ukraine is to the West is a money laundering operation. Now, the second or the third thing that I find just hilarious is I'm still trying to figure out Putin's thought process leading up to the invasion of Ukraine, the money laundering operation. That said, I'm not thrilled that he decided to invade the Ukraine itself has lost, what, 500,000 of its adult. Their population is just, they're done. They're not making babies at this point. This is a problem. But the thought process of Putin himself leading up to the invasion of Ukraine, did he not even think to try to recover all the international funds, the Forex stuff, any gold, whatever it is that has been seized by the West? Did he just think that we weren't going to do that? I have a hard time believing, after all the shit that we witnessed, especially throughout COVID, but certainly leading up to COVID from 2008 back to 2001, that Putin was actually sitting there going, our money is going to be completely safe. We're going to completely jack with NATO. NATO is basically the umbrella corporation for all central banking in the world, or at least that matters, but it's going to be fine. I got a big problem with these people. There's no way that Putin wasn't sitting there thinking that this was going to be all okay, that they weren't going to lose anything. Please, 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 somebody who understands international intrigue a hell of a lot better than I do, please tell me why Russia didn't try to recover all their shit before they launched this attack. I mean, the only thing that I can figure is that it would have been a direct signal to the West, confirmation that they were in fact going. And now, because they had a pullout date of all their money from the international banking system, that they were obviously going to attack within like 2 or something like that. That is the only thing that I can figure as to why Putin would have allowed all that money just to be in the hands of the very people that he knew were going to come down on the side of Ukraine. Again, the largest money laundering operation in history, in my opinion. But now Russia looks like they're trying to, do something with the funds in JP Morgan. And I don't even know how that shit's going to work, because all that shit's connected to SWIFT. How are they going to seize it? The central banking system has been completely captured by the West. Every valve, every lever, every pipe, every pump of the money system of the modern world is owned 100% by NATO. And anybody who thinks differently doesn't understand what the hell's going on. None of these people should be trusted. Putin shouldn't be trusted, but the Western banking system should also not be trusted, and this is why we Bitcoin. Moving on, Nigeria's central bank has been forced to deny claims of a crypto account freeze. This is Amaka Nawawakachaka. I can't pronounce that name. It's Cointelegraph, though, so let's get into it. The central bank of Nigeria has been forced to deny a report saying that it issued a directive requiring all banks and financial institutions to identify individuals or entities engaging in transactions with cryptocurrency exchanges and to ensure that such amounts are put on post-no debit instructions for 6 months. A post-no debit instruction is a directive issued by a bank or financial institution to restrict certain transactions on a customer's account. Canada did that shit at the trucker protest. That's post-no debit, right? Okay. When a PND instruction is in place, the account holder is prohibited from making debit transactions, meaning that they cannot withdraw funds nor make payments using the affected account. Confusion occurred when the central bank denied the story on Twitter, but then deleted the denial. Some hours later, they claimed the allegations were false. The bank said that it would catch anyone it believes is buying and selling Tether on the listed platforms illegally, especially those using peer-to-peer methods. Yeah, good luck. I call bullshit. The alleged circular also stated that regulated financial institutions engaging in crypto or facilitating payments for crypto exchanges are prohibited. However, this contradicts an earlier ban lifted in December of 2023 that allowed banks to facilitate transactions for crypto exchanges. The central bank lifted the ban nearly 2 years after enforcing a comprehensive ban on banks engaging with digital currencies, and according to a statement by the CBN at the time, it recognized that the increasing global demand and adoption of crypto make it unjustifiable to maintain the stringent restrictions imposed on financial institutions in 2021. However, due to the swift devaluation of the Naira and the subsequent inflation rate of a measly 30%, Jesus, the government shifted its attention to platforms offering cryptocurrency services. It disabled websites associated with crypto trading that had gained notoriety for setting informal valuations for the Naira. Binance encountered significant scrutiny when the CBN raised concerns regarding suspicious financial transactions occurring through Binance Nigeria in 2023. CBN head, there's no way I could pronounce his name, said that $26 billion had passed through Nigeria via Binance in 2023. Binance is facing further challenges. Yes, we know. So, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of India. First there's a ban, then there's not a ban. Then there's another ban, then there's not a ban. Well, and then there's a ban, but it's only for this certain sector, and then that ban gets lifted, but then placed on another sector. And India has been flip-flopping on Bitcoin for a decade. Let's just call it a straight-up decade. At best, all right? Maybe 7 years at least. In either event, this looks just like that. Nigeria cannot figure out what it's going to. I know they're being instructed to ban this stuff, but you're talking about Nigeria. This is not an unpopulated region of Africa. And these people are getting pissed. And nobody wants to have their heads separated from their body. And if people get pissed enough, that's exactly what happens to people that are causing the pain. It just does. I'm not calling for it, but I'm not an idiot either. This is what happens. So who knows what, are they trying to appease both their own population to make sure that they don't get their heads chopped off, as well as the IMF and World Bank? Because those two playing pieces cannot be moved simultaneously. They are at opposing odds. The IMF hates the citizenry of the world. That is clear. The World Bank also hates the citizenry of the world, because who likes plebs? Just get rid of them. They're just useless eaters. We just want our rich friends to inherit the world. Sorry for you, that's not going to happen because this is why we Bitcoin. And Hong Kong wants to Bitcoin too. Hong Kong, the first Bitcoin ETFs are to begin trading on April 30th, according to confirmation from Hashkey Capital Bitcoin Magazine, Vivek sent writing. Hong Kong Security and Futures Commission recently approved spot ETFs for several major asset managers. The approval comes after months of anticipation and marks a significant milestone for the Asia. Hashkey Capital, a local asset management firm, confirmed that its Bitcoin ETF will start trading next Tuesday. In a statement, the spokesman for the firm acknowledged the launch date, making it one of the first companies to offer a spot Bitcoin OSL, a digital asset platform that acts as a sub-custodian and infrastructure service provider for two major fund managers, has also indicated that spot Bitcoin products aim to launch as early as April. This news further solidifies Hong Kong's position as a frontrunner in the race to offer investors access to Bitcoin through traditional financial instruments. Elsewhere, some of China's top asset managers are in the final leg of preparation for spot ETFs to begin potentially by the end of April. This development is expected to attract significant interest from investors within as well as outside Hong Kong. All right, that's all we need to know about that. So Hashkey, at least Hashkey Capital, has confirmed that their particular product, their particular Bitcoin spot ETF, will start trading on April the 30th. So that seems to be the day. It seems to be confirmed. I don't see anybody denying it. So I guess we're lining up the horses to come out of the gates on April 30th in Hong Kong for the ETF. Going back across the pond, let's get to Venezuela. Venezuela turns to Tether to skirt U.S. oil sanctions, according to the report. Jose Antonio Lanz has it for Decrypt. The oil industry in Venezuela will soon be back under U.S. sanctions after a 6-month pause, and the economic impact has reportedly driven the South American nation to accelerate its adoption of cryptocurrency in oil trading. I gotta pause for two things. One, to say hello to my friend Uno, who's over here in the chat, zapping the shit out of me. 4 zaps already. So if you guys want to one up Uno, no pun intended, get into zap.stream. Come into the stream and, I don't know, point your finger at me and laugh. Do whatever it is that you got to do. Oil trading and cryptocurrency. Oil. You got Venezuela. Guys, Venezuela has been one of the largest oil exporters in the world for decades. It's heavy crude. And this is important. It's not West Texas light sweet crude. What's the difference, you ask? Well, heavy crude, you can refine a shit ton different products from, not just gasoline, not just motor oil, all kinds of other stuff. West Texas Intermediate is great. Don't get me wrong. Light sweet crude totally has its place. But if you want some heavier industrial components, you're going to heavy crude. And heavy crude, that's one of the reasons why it fetches a slightly higher price than light sweet versions. In either event, Venezuela's been at this shit for decades. And now they have an escape hatch. Let's see what happens. As part of efforts to encourage Venezuelan leadership to conduct a fair presidential election in July, the U.S. implemented General License 44, which authorized transactions related to oil or gas sector operations in Venezuela. However, after opposition candidate Maria Corina Machado was banned from running by the government of Nicolas Maduro, the license is being revoked. Amid the political turmoil, Venezuela's state-run oil company, PDVSA, plans to increase the use of digital currencies in its crude and fuel exports, according to sources cited by Reuters. The move is intended to reduce the risk of sale proceeds getting frozen in foreign bank accounts due to the revived sanctions. Venezuela has been using crypto for years, as President Maduro has himself confirmed. But Reuters reports that PDVSA this year moved many spot oil deals contract model, demanded prepayment for half of each cargo's value in the USDT stablecoin. Even during the sanctions pause, the return of oil sanctions is simply speeding up the shift. Additionally, the oil company is reportedly requiring any new customer conducting oil transactions to hold cryptocurrency in a digital wallet. What confirmation that you got the funds. And we have given them the technology to be able to do that without a trusted third party. This is oil. The world runs on it. Not just Venezuelan oil, obviously. Oil's all over the damn place. But dude, once the dam forms the crack and the water starts dripping through, it doesn't take long for the drip to turn into a stream and then the entire fucking dam to collapse. It probably is starting with. Anyway, the move by the bank may be driven more by convenience than strategy, as Tether, the blockchain platform underlying USDT, has a track record of blocking crypto addresses that are identified by law enforcement owned by sanctioned individuals. And in fact, more bans were enforced just today. Quote, Tether respects the Office of Foreign Asset Control, SDN list, and is committed to working to ensure sanctioned addresses are frozen promptly. Firm told Crypto Slate. Notice they use the firm. They're talking about Tether, talking about a company. It's not really anything like Bitcoin, is it? That's an important note. We'll get. According to Dune Analytics, Tether has voluntarily blocked 1,426 USDT addresses, which represent over $1 billion in funds. In early 2018, Venezuela announced its intentions to launch a native cryptocurrency. First proposed to run on the Ethereum blockchain, the token was poised to be censorship resistant and easily tradable. Months later, the government moved to a private blockchain, which the U.S. later targeted and sanctioned, preventing its global adoption. No, it's a shitcoin. Not now. The coin died in 2024 after a major corruption scandal ended with the detention of the oil minister and the cryptocurrency superintendent. Oil and cryptocurrency is moving closer and closer. Anyway, both of those guys, the cryptocurrency superintendent and the Venezuelan oil minister, are both wanted by the United States government for corruption charges because apparently we can just do whatever we want to any sovereign country in the world. And I'm a United States citizen. You'd think maybe I should be happy about that. Oh, we live in the strongest country in the world and we can basically turn anybody into our little bitch. I am not excited or thrilled about that in any way, shape, or form, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That means one of these days the tables can be turned. This shit needs to stop. It just needs to stop. Anyway, Venezuela's oil exports have increased during the pause. The nation's oil ministry confirmed that the country exports nearly 1 million barrels of oil. That's its highest export in 4 years. Nicolas Maduro remains defiant in the face of the sanctions. Quote, even with sanctions, blocks, and threats, we will move forward in the country's development and our people's peace. Tweeted yesterday. If you guys think I'm a Nicolas Maduro fan, you're also crazy. The dude's a scumbag, but at least he's a sovereign scumbag. Anyway, the shift towards cryptocurrency and oil trades is a significant move for Venezuela as it seeks to maintain its oil exports in the face of foreign sanctions. However, relying on middlemen for transactions could mean a portion of oil proceeds end up in PDVSA's pockets. Venezuela's Most recent corruption scandal involved $21 billion hidden from the government by PDVSA executives using cryptocurrencies. That's all we need out of this story. There's three major things here. One, oil runs the world, and it's moving closer and closer to Bitcoin than you can possibly imagine. And the minute that shit fuses and solidifies, watch out for the rest of the oil-bearing nations of the world, and that means NATO needs to be scared. Honestly, NATO needs to disband at this point. We don't really need it, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But this shit is just going to make NATO, IMF, World Bank less and less relevant. That's why they're freaking out. And okay, so I had 3 points. Oh, the fact that Tether is a centralized company, and it's becoming clearer and clearer to people that are using Tether that they might as well just be using JP Morgan Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo or whatever else. Because these accounts are being frozen. They are accounts. They are not sovereign wallets. Nobody seems to understand that. Oh, I use Tether and it's completely decentralized. No, it is not. So what does that mean? They tried using Tether. They got their shit blocked. They're trying to use Tether again, but that's going to get blocked as well. So, and in the interim, they tried to develop their own private blockchain. What's left? Right, Bitcoin. That's the only thing that's left. This is one of the main shapers of oil, sanctions, Venezuela, heavy crude, the combination of energy markets and mining markets and all this shit. As it solidifies, it becomes more and more evident that the only real escape valve is Bitcoin, and all of the rest of the malarkey that is being spread about altcoin this and Tether that and stablecoin whatever is all bullshit. The only money that matters is Bitcoin. That's it. That's why. And Venezuela is going to figure it out at one point or another. And the rest of the world will follow suit. They will not be using Tether. They will not be using USDC. They will not be using Dogecoin. The only escape valve that is viable, that is real, that matters, that is long lasting is going to be Bitcoin. And the energy markets have always ruled the planet, or at least as far as the last, let's say, 100 years. And that's not stopping soon. It just is. So be prepared to watch oil, energy markets become closer and closer to Bitcoin until it just gets stitched. Like these fabulous wallets from the Leathermint. Look at that stitching. And I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to shill my friends. Let's get on. Jack Dorsey's block is building a Bitcoin mining system. This is actually fairly compelling. CoinDesk, Helene Braun is writing this one. Block, the payments company founded by former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, is building its own Bitcoin mining system as it deepens its footing in the challenging crypto mining space, the firm said on Tuesday. The firm, formerly known as Square, said in a blog post that it completed the development of a 3 nanometer mining chip, which it had been working on since April of 2023. The full design is in process with a leading global semiconductor foundry, according to the post. In addition to that, Block said that after speaking to community members about the pain points in the industry, it decided to also develop a full Bitcoin mining system, which will include system design. Quote, "We've spent a significant amount of time talking to a wide variety of miners to identify the challenges faced by mining operators. Building on these insights and pursuant to our goal of supporting miner decentralization, we plan to offer both a standalone mining chip as well as a full mining system of our own design. The Bitcoin mining industry is dominated by players, with Beijing-based miners controlling 60% of the market, according to estimates. Quote, there are few serious competitors, which indicates significant potential for disruption, said James Butterfield, head of research at CoinShares. Block announced the completion of a 5 nanometer chip in May of 2023, which is the same technology that Bitmain's S21 mining machines use. Quote, this leads us to believe that 3 nanometer chips could achieve efficiencies. Although chip efficiency has rapidly improved in recent years as demand for up, the latest halving event on April 20th adds even more importance for faster mining speeds as well as low cost and enhanced reliability. The 3 nanometer chips at this point, 3 nanometer semiconductor chips are at very close to the theoretical limit. And I believe the theoretical limit for chips that will actually function in a way that is prescribed by the design, 1 nanometer. Right? But that's a lot that, took us a while to get to 3 nanometers. Right? I remember when 16 nanometers was a big fucking deal. And then came 12, and then came 9. And now we're down to 5, and it looks like we just got to 3. Now, I want everybody to understand that I don't believe the theoretical limit actually is to be believed. All right, now I know I'm not a physicist, I'm not a material scientist. I literally should have nothing to say about this, except that I do know for a fact that there exists today and has existed for well over a decade a carbon-based transistor that is in regular use electronics. It's made of carbon, right? And it's a transistor, and it's in semiconductors. The smallest version of it is 6 carbon atoms wide, which is a lot smaller than 3 nanometers. It is. Trust me. It's way smaller. So I think we've got a hell of a lot more runway beyond 1 nanometer than most people think. But again, not a materials physicist, so what the hell do I know except that we're already past the theoretical limit. And it's bizarre that nobody's really talking about it, but I don't know, whatever. Hey, let's run the numbers. CNBC futures and commodities. They got West Texas Intermediate oil, which we were just talking about. It's down a full point today, $82.61. Brent North Sea is down 0.75 of a point to $87.80. Natural gas is it's down 5.5 points. Holy shit. $1.71 per thousand cubic feet. Gasoline is up scant to $2.72. Shiny metal rocks are all having a bad day except for copper, which is the only one in the green. It's up 0.5 point. Agricultural stuff, biggest winner today is chocolate. Jesus, it's up 8.66%. It doesn't even. Lumber is down 1.25 points. Live cattle is down over a point. Lean hogs are down 1/3. Feeder cattle down 1.2%. Even the legacy financial equity markets are having a bad day. The Dow is down 0.13%. The S&P is currently unchanged. NASDAQ is up by 1/3 of a point, and the S&P Mini is down 0.6%. Clark Moody's dashboard, which completely destroyed all of the stuff that I had saved for my own little personal dashboard. I had to put it together. Price $64,940 because people just want to be fucking poor, I guess. I don't know. $1.28 trillion of market cap. You can now purchase 28.1 ounces of shiny metal rocks with your one Bitcoin, of which there are 19,689,300, no, 439.87 of. And average fees per block are 2.37 BTC. That's for the whole block, not a transaction. We'll do transactions here. Actually, we're going to, well, no, we're not going to do transactions. Didn't set it up. All right, post halving hangover. That was episode 887 of Bitcoin, and I got boostergram. Mr. Man boosted 10,001 sat. Dude, palindrome boost. Love him. I forgot what I came to say. Hi, Booleystead. You know, Booleysteed. Is it Booleysteed? Booleysteed. I think that's what. All them sharks with 10,000 says, been a while for me. That's okay, pal. 10,000 is nothing to sneeze at, so I appreciate it. Bitstep21 with 10,000 says, discovered your show a bit late compared to RHR, but I like what you're doing. Take this as a token of appreciation from my side. Dude, thank you. I appreciate it. Dubrovko with 1660 says, oh my God, no! This video is of a tow truck trying to hook a car in traffic in San Francisco. The other video is a good lesson that if you intervene, you better be prepared for the consequences. Yeah, I won't get into how I got that screwed up, but I totally screwed that up. I should have watched the video first. But the other video where the dude got run over by the truck. First of all, I hate seeing that. That's why I don't go to Twitter anymore. Except to like maybe post this show up, but I just spend most of my time on Nostr. Because you people over on Nostr are better people. You just are. You say good morning. You say nice things to each other for the most part. And I follow a lot of people. I think I follow like well over 1,600 people. And honestly, it is very rare that I see anybody taking shots at anybody. Sometimes I see it. It happens. But it's about, I don't know, like a feature or Nostr doing something that somebody doesn't appreciate. I don't get posts of trucks running over people and either killing them or damn near killing them. One of the reasons why I just cannot stand being on Twitter anymore. I cannot believe I was that. Anyway. BitGus with 1,000 says, dude boost. Slow with 1,000 says, number one rule, don't make transactions high or drunk. Yes. That's what I said, and I'm sticking by it. O2ZX with 503 says, test. Bitstep21 with 420 says, thank God. God's Death with 337 says, thank you, sir. No, thank you. O2ZX with 100 says, cool. Fountain.fm web sign-in zap. Nice. It's not working for me. I don't know why, but the Fountain.fm on my web browser, it just doesn't have any functionality at all. I have to go to my phone to do it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm using an old operating. Let's see. Who else we got? We got Pies. Finishes us out. 100 sats. Says, cheers. Now, here's the ask. Got to have the ask. Because if you don't ask, you don't get. I need help supporting this show. I need your help supporting. And sometimes that means boosts and streaming me Satoshis. But other times, if you can't afford that, it simply means get the word out about the show. 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. I know I know it's Apple Podcasts, and for some reason, it's still a thing as far as the reviews go. The way that the reviews propagate through the podcast system and RSS system, even though nobody really uses the Apple Podcast app itself anymore. There's not a whole lot. Most of the people that listen to this show listen to Fountain.fm. That's what my metrics are saying anyway. But still, the 5-star reviews, you take your time and convert it into a 5-star review for the Bitcoin and podcast, that helps me get out through the entire ecosystem. Because again, and I don't know why, Apple Podcast reviews have weight to them. An Apple Podcast, shitty way to listen to podcasts. If you don't have the time to do that, and you got more sats than time, boostograms, help me help you to help me to get this show somewhere other than just the news. One of these days, Bitcoin is going to be boring. And then what the hell am I going to do? No one is going to give a shit about Nicolas Maduro when everybody's using Bitcoin. So the show's got to transition into something. And I'm pretty much unemployable because I've been doing a podcast. Apparently, when you say that you've got a podcast, you're clearly not cut out to do anything but maybe use the toilet by yourself. I don't know. It's weird, but it is what it is. So help me get this show moving in different directions for you, as well as for me. I did call a rancher today, so I'm hoping that I get to go talk to some high-scale Wagyu beef genetics guys here in the next couple of days. I don't know. See if they call me back. Anyway, that's the ask. Tell your friends and family. 5-star reviews on Apple. Get a Podcasting 2.0 app if you're not using one so that you can Boostograms and send me Satoshis by streaming and all that kind of stuff. And let's see where it takes us. All right? That's the weather report. Welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. We're going to start this one off with Block. Block lets Square merchants convert a part of their daily sales to Bitcoin. TechCrunch.com. Now, before we get into it, understand that Block and Square are both Jack Dorsey companies. Block, right? Block is the guys behind, I believe it's Cash App. I think that's where Cash App is nestled under. And that's what, generally speaking, that's what I use for my weekly purchase of Bitcoin on a DCA. Square is the merchant point of sale thing. So if you're a merchant, if you got like a tamale stand and you're using a point of sale rig, you might very well have Square as your vendor for that point of sale machine, and it allows you to take credit cards and blah, 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 blah. Well, before, there was no interconnect between Block, Cash App, and the Square point of sale rigs and merchants, but now there is. This is going to be interesting. Block, oh, by the way, this is out of TechCrunch. Ivan Mehta is writing it. Block, the company behind Square, Cash App, and other services, announced a new program today allowing merchants using Square's solutions to convert a percentage of their daily sales to Bitcoin. The feature, rolling out in the United States starting today, and let's make sure, it's stories written April 24th. It is April 24th today, so today, the transfer of 1 to 10% of Square sellers' daily sales to their personal Cash App account. This amount will convert into Bitcoin at the end of the day. Merchants will receive a confirmation of the conversion when the transaction is complete. Block said that the Bitcoin conversion feature will be available to all sole proprietors or single member LLCs in the coming months. The company takes a 1% cut from every conversion made by the seller, however. Merchants can send Bitcoin to other wallets or sell them at any time from the Cash App account. Quote, Block believes that Bitcoin is the instrument of economic empowerment and provides a way for people around the world, including business owners, to participate in a global monetary system. According to the direct feedback from Square sellers, many are interested in Bitcoin and believe it presents a wide range of use cases such as long-term savings and diversifying their businesses' holdings. End quote. When we asked Block about the seller's conversion patterns and average returns, the company said it had just tested the conversion feature with a small set of merchants and has no definitive data. Block has tried to make it easy for users to buy Bitcoin across its platforms. For instance, the company self-custodial wallet BitKey with Cash App and Coinbase to allow holders to trade Bitcoin easily. So finally, and I've been waiting for this shit. I've been waiting for this day. And there's one more day that I'm waiting for. So today is the day that I've been waiting for where Square merchants will be able to interact at this point in a way indirectly with Bitcoin, but not so much that it kind of doesn't matter. They're going to be able to port their stuff from the Square merchant point of sale, their accounts over there, into Cash App, and at the Cash App side, be able to automatically convert that fiat bullshit into real, actual savings. The next day that I'm looking for is where the Square merchant point of sale takes Bitcoin directly for a sale. If Jack doesn't do that by the end of this year, then I don't know where Jack's head is at. Jack, I know you're not listening, but if you were listening, I would tell you this exact same thing. You need to allow merchants, just put it on the fucking point of sale machine. They don't have to activate it, but if they want to, they could. And it makes it their issue to figure out accounting and all the stuff that goes along with taking Bitcoin directly from goods and services. But the fact that you don't have that, there's no law against Jack not putting that functionality on the Square point of sale machine. There's no law against it. Even if there was, they should fuck off. In either event, they should. To at least allow the merchant to not have to even make these bridges. They can just take Bitcoin directly if they so choose. And then it becomes up to them. Maybe, have it to where if you activate it, that you've got to read a disclaimer. I know no one likes the EULA, but this is a EULA that you should probably read. Hey, here's how you need to handle accounting. And here's some other things and other gotchas that you might have if you start taking Bitcoin in the United States directly for goods and services. But I believe wholeheartedly that we should be all over Jack's ass about getting Bitcoin on the Square point of sale machine, at least as an option for the merchant. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, where are we at? We are at announcing BitVMX, an advanced computational layer for Bitcoin. Rootstock Labs, this is their post as of today. Today, we're excited to announce that a team of researchers supported by Rootstock Labs and Fairgate Labs have launched a project to explore major advancements in blockchain computation. BitVMX is an advanced computational layer for Bitcoin that allows more complex and useful applications built and executed securely upon the network. The aim of the BitVMX research project is to create secure, extensible, open source, peer-reviewed, and sidechain agnostic frameworks that can be used to develop Bitcoin bridges, aggregator oracles, and snark/stark verifiers. Full details of the innovations and research that led to the discovery will be shared on stage by Sergio Demain, Lerner, Chief Scientist at Rootstock Labs at BTC++ Austin on the first day of May. Full white paper detailing the technical aspects, architecture, and vision will also be shared upon this date. As part of the BitVMX project, the research team intends to run a fully compliant RISC-V processor or RISC-V processor on Bitcoin, programmable using a standard compilation toolchain. A fully compliant RISC-V processor is going to be run on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. I'm not sure I'm excited about this because we're already dealing with ordinals. I don't think this actually, would bloat the block. I don't think the way that BitVM and now BitVMX seems to be working is a danger in bloat as far as the blockchain is concerned. But again, I'm like, can we just have money? Is that so difficult? I mean, why is it that we need to jam up everything? Oh, look. It's a tire. Let's figure out a way to use it as something that it was never intended to be used by or for. What is it about humans? I get that we're creative, but we also have to be stupid. I'm not mad about this. I'm really not. But I hate to see the potential for this shit to get out of control. and runes and ordinals and BRC20s is already out of control. I don't need any more, but let's calm down and get to it. From BitVM to BitVMX, less than 6 months ago, it was believed that without major modifications to Bitcoin's code, using the network to verify complex computations was possible or impossible. But that changed in October of last year when Robin Linus, BitVM project, Robin Linus's project proved there was theoretically a way to do it. But theory and practice, two very different things. The BitVMX research team intends to build on the initial discovery with additional innovations to create an improved development framework for running programs on Bitcoin. The name is a nod to BitVMX's origins while highlighting its focus on extending Bitcoin and accelerating the development of the next generation sidechains and layer 2s. The BitVMX framework and research will be fully open source and available to the entire Bitcoin community to help advance the Bitcoin movement. In terms of how BitVMX will contribute to Rootstock's development, a team of core contributors is working on the public roadmap of proposed improvements to the network in the next 12 months, and alongside ambitious plans to reduce block speed from 30 seconds to 5 seconds. The roadmap will detail proposals on how BitVMX could play a major role in Rootstock's future as the most secure, trustless, and interoperable Bitcoin sidechain. Yeah. So BitVM, Robin Linus's original project that was announced late last year, well, mid last year. The theory is that you could do complex computations on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, not really a layer 2, but sort of utilizing the way that the blockchain works and what kind of data it stores and the way that it stores it could be used as a kind of a virtual machine. Hence BitVM virtual machine. But these guys look like they want to take this shit one step further and inject it with like methamphetamine. A full RISC-V processor, while kind of laughable nowadays, wasn't laughable back in the day when RISC processors and ARM processors like that were being created. They were exciting features. They did a lot of computations. They were engineering marvels. And yet they're going to virtualize a RISC-V and have it run like a RISC-V processor runs on top of the blockchain as a virtual machine. Again, why hairless, treeless apes have like nothing better to do with their time than to figure out how to take something that's useful for this one thing and make it do something completely that it was never intended to do. I don't know. I don't think it's hubris, and I do think it's locked into human creativity, but can you guys not? Can we just have money? Is that so hard? I just want the money. I just want good money. I don't care if a RISC-V processor is able to process shit using Bitcoin blockchain. Yes, I know the implications. Smart contracts and executable Oracle stuff. I get it. Can we not have that on a layer 2? How about that for a side chain? Can we have oracles? Put oracles on a side chain that leverages Bitcoin's security model, but doesn't actually use Bitcoin itself. I wouldn't mind a side chain for that. I really wouldn't. But we've got other shit to fry. Blossom. I played around with it today. This thing's got legs, guys. I mean, it's got long legs. And if you haven't heard about Blossom Drive, here is the no BS Bitcoin version. Blossom Drive, store and retrieve data on public servers using SHA-256 Universal ID. Blossom is a specification for a set of HTTP endpoints that allows users to store blobs of data on publicly accessible servers. Blobs are packs of binary data addressed by their SHA-256 hash. Quote, Blossom, I just read that, sorry. An identity system would allow files to be, quote, owned by users. And once files have owners, servers could start grouping files into a single thing instead of 1,000 and more loose files, explained Hazard 149 in a blog post. Quote, blobs are chunks of binary data. They are similar to files, but with one key. They don't have name instead. Hold on. They don't have names. Instead, blobs have a SHA-256 hash, and then they give this long hash, which is a string of letters and numbers. Since it's not. Anyway, they have a blob like that as an ID. These IDs are universal since they can be computed from the file itself using the SHA-256 hashing algorithm. Blossom Drive is a Nostr app built on top of Blossom servers and allows users to create and manage folders of blobs. Drives are just Nostr events, kind 30563, that store a map of blobs, what file name they should have, along with some extra metadata. Check out a demo of Blossom Drive at it's blossom.hazard149.com. That's blossom.hzrd1 and the numbers 149.com. Again, blossom.hazard149.com. Also, check out Satellite CDN, a Blossom-compatible open-source CDN server that handles media uploads, downloads, user authentication, Lightning payments, and file indexing. Okay. Now, so I've been intrigued about this Blossom thing for a while. And like Nostr, I honestly have the same experience with all this new technology. Somebody says, have you seen Nostr? And then they go into a small description of what Nostr is, and I don't know what Nostr is. I form this mental model of what I think it is, but that's not what it is. That's not what Nostr was. It took me getting into the weeds of Nostr to understand, or at least be comfortable with what I think my mental model of Nostr is now. I'm comfortable with my model of Nostr. It doesn't mean that I know, I still believe that I don't know exactly what Nostr is, because I don't think the developers know exactly what. And that's the beauty of open art. It can become anything. And I just got finished bitching about RISC-V processors being run on top of Bitcoin. I know, I get it. It's open architecture. People are going to do the thing. What's the thing? They're going to be creative. They're going to start finding uses for things that was never meant to. And because of that activity of the human mind, the human spirit, the human heart, I will never fully know what Nostr is, because I can't look into the future to see what it becomes. But one of the things that I do know is that my primary mental model of what Nostr was supposed to be, as it was described the first 2 or 3 times to me, was not correct. I had formed an incorrect mental model of what I thought Nostr was. Now I'm comfortable, but I'm experiencing the same thing again with Blossom. Like I listen to Citadel Dispatch, I listen to what other people say about Blossom, and I form this mental model, and I'm in the position now where I know better that if I've gotten a description of this new thing that I've never touched, and I form a mental model of it, I don't need to wait. I need to run, not walk, directly into the fray and figure this shit out. So that's what I did. I went over to blossom.hazard149.com, and Hazard is the developer's handle, HZRD, the numbers 149. That's his handle. That's Hazard's handle. So it's blossom.hazard149.com. And here it is for all you guys that are over there in Zapstream. How many of, there's probably like 2. It's probably me and Uno. That's okay, man. Nobody likes me. This is the interface, and it's web. I've got a web browser up. I'm using Brave, and I'm at blossom.hazard149.com. This is my test Blossom Drive. And when I got into it, the first thing that it asked me was, you need a server. Okay, I'm not a developer. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm trying to figure out, see, this is what I'm trying to go through is where it is that I get confused about my mental model of stuff. People describe something to you, you form a mental model of what you think it is. Some of you guys are so sharp that depending on what the subject matter is, you instantly get it and you get a very, very correct mental model. But if you're not, like you're not a programmer, you're not a developer, you don't know what the hell webhook really means, like me, it takes a while to do the conversion. So I had to go back. I went to GitHub. I was readme.markdown. I went back to the original, like, no bullshit Bitcoin story. And then I finally got it in my head that, oh, I can go to cdn.satellite.earth and use that address because it is a server that works with Blossom. I go, okay, so these two pieces seem to fit together. So I take cdn.satellite.earth. I use that URL as the server URL when it asked me in Blossom for a server. Lo and behold, it actually worked. And then it said, okay, you need to pay money. You need to pay money for that because you're about to store data on this remote machine. We need a cut. I'm like, shit, I'm just testing. What are you going to want? Like 15,000 sats, 50,000 sats? No, for a gigabyte storage for 1 month, that's not on your machine, or at least, well, as far as I can tell, because again, my mental model may be jacked. Maybe this URL is just a way for a portion of my hard drive to be used as storage, but communicates through this CDN, and that's how the how the whole thing works. But it doesn't matter. I will figure that out later. It takes me a while. It's not that I'm not smart. It's that when you're ignorant of how things work in certain sectors, it takes a while to learn how that shit works. But a gigabyte of storage, whether it's on my local machine or on a remote machine, and I'm still not clear about that, 77 sats per month. 77 sats. 77 Satoshis. Like, hardly any money at all, at least right now. And of course, we're in the testing phase of all this, so that I expect that price to increase. It said, hey, look, you have Get Alby as an extension. And Get Alby starts interacting with blossom.hazard149.com and says, I see there's an invoice that you would like to pay. You want to go ahead and do that shit? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. 77 Satoshis. Hell yeah, brother. And by the integration of, being able to use Alby and a lightning invoice that was generated by Blossom, I was able to pay with Get Alby. All of a sudden, cdn.satellite.earth as in my server list became active. And now I can actually go over and go to my drives, which was also active. And I'm looking at the left-hand menu. I've got home, drives, blobs, servers. There's nothing in my blobs. Now I've got stuff in my blobs. And it's basically saying, we've detected that you've got 5 files, and it lists my files, and then it gives a particular ID for files. So my identity is verifiable, like that these files, no matter who gets it, those files, they're known to be owned by a certain particular digital ID. That particular digital ID happens to be mine. But for as far as I know, for the first time, we've been able to link identity with a GIF of Homer Simpson walking through the streets carrying a placard that says the end is near, right? And if I go to my drives and actually get into my file folder that I set up, I can actually see those. And I've got, I just pulled one up, and it's that dude, I can't remember his name, comedian. It says, "Alrighty then." Used to be Fire Chief Bob on like one of the one of the early or late '80s, early '90s comedies. I think it was who was it? It was the one with the Fly Girls. I can't remember the Wayans brothers. I think is the ones that did. It doesn't matter. It's just that I've got a GIF here, and when I put it into my drive, and by the way, I'm able to encrypt my drive. Right? When I dropped it into my file folder on my drive that is clearly being hosted in some form or fashion by cdn.satellite.earth, it gave it a unique digital identifier that is linked to my identity. And by the way, I logged into blossom.hazard149.com with my Noster public key, private key pair because of Get Alby. I've got Get Alby as an extension in my browser. So now these files are linked to my identity. That could be good. That could be bad. I don't know. It depends. But what does this mean for people like, like Julian Assange back in the days when he wasn't being held like a trapped animal and being like and having disgusting things done to him by European and the rest of the justice system, right? What would it have meant to be able to get these blobs of data, yet there's a unique identifier for those particular files so that somebody might know where they came from, but only if you can unlock the identity through being able to, I don't know, that the whole point is that identity is carried with the file. And now we have a global file system that people can store shit on, and we can pay Satoshis for it, and each one of the files is locked to our digital ID. I'm going to be completely neutral about this at this point because my mental model of what's going on right now is not complete. It's just not. But I highly recommend that if you want to help me form a better mental model of what Blossom actually is, please go and test it out for yourself. Blossom.hazard149.com. That's blossom.hazard149.com. Go play with it. See what you think. What can be done? What can we do? What can we not do? How can this get somebody in trouble? How can it protect somebody from not getting in trouble? What size files? How much is it eventually going to cost? What does it mean for internet traffic? Tor. How does it work with Tor? All these things need to be answered. But it's a hosted file, maybe somewhere else, maybe local on your computer, but it has the reach globally, and files are locked to your digital identity. What can be done? Jim Carrey. Yeah, but it wasn't SNL. Although that particular scene was from the movie Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. In either event, it was the Wayans brothers, and I can't remember it. They had a team of dance girls. They called them the Fly Girls. Like very late '80s, early '90s, and I think it was spun out from the Tracy Ullman show, if I remember right. Anyway, enough of that. Where are we? Oh, El Salvador's Chivo wallet source code and VPN access. And for anybody, and I've seen a couple of people losing their ever-loving minds about this. Don't. Nobody uses the Chivo wallet. It's bullshit. It's shitty architecture. It's crap code. It didn't work out of the gate when they first released it in El Salvador, but it doesn't matter because we have many, many, many Lightning and Bitcoin wallets to choose from. Why anybody cares about Chivo wallet source code being leaked? Who cares? Jesus, everybody stop whining about it. NDK, the Nostr Development Kit 2.8, called Fast and Steady, has been released by Pablo F7Z. Plethora of performance upgrades, one of which is optimistic signature verification. And that's where a note is just assumed to be signed validly and is put into a queue to be checked later. And this somehow or another helps Nostr along with notes being, being put to where they need to be put so that things don't get backed up, but they're not actually going to be released. The notes aren't actually going to be released until at such time the signature is actually verified. It just doesn't have to do it all at once. And I think that's threaded signature verification, threads, and more threads about apparently Gigi has uncovered something. Let's read about that. Gigi has paved the way to show how broken thread rendering is in Nostr multiple times. This release, and we're talking about the NDK 2.8, this release includes a bunch of helper functions that should make proper thread rendering incredibly obvious. Fetching events. These functions can be used to make sense of what's the right ordering, what are replies, what is part of the main thread, etc., etc. Main entry point to these threading utility functions is event threads, which can be provided a set fetched events and will return in order the events that belong to the thread. All other events can be rendered as replies. There are many more very useful along with it that can be found on source and /threads. Examples of how to use these can be found on the open source highlighter codebase. Here's an explanation of optimistic signature verification. NDK can now be configured to perform signature verification of events asynchronously. This means that events are assumed to be valid and pushed into a queue. When an invalid signature is received, a global event is emitted for the application to handle accordingly, i.e., user, disconnect from the relay, etc. So that's what's coming with NDK 2.8, fast and steady. OpenSats has received, and for those of you that are still arguing about whether or not OpenSats is evil, please stop. Please. We don't need people having a reason to not do something like support source development. And when you do something and you've got 15 people all up your ass about how evil you are because of something, and it's not about the mission, it's about something else, like how transparent you are. Yes, people should be transparent, but we're at the early stages of all this, and people are just all over fucking OpenSats. And honestly, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's good treatment. I don't think it's moving us along. And yet throughout it all, the Reynolds Foundation decided to cut $1 million to OpenSats. We are delighted to announce that the Reynolds Foundation is supporting OpenSats with a generous donation of $1 million. Announced OpenSats, a nonprofit a nonprofit that's dedicated to supporting developers working on free and open source freedom tech projects. We warmly invite fellow philanthropists to join us in supporting the groundbreaking endeavor, OpenSats. Their work ensures that our collective efforts significantly impact the community, and we are dedicated to serving. Together we can fix the money and fix the world, said Dr. Alvaro Salas Castro, President and CEO of the Reynolds Foundation. Let's see what the Reynolds Foundation is. Let's see if we can find it. Smith Reynolds Foundation? Richard S. Reynolds Foundation? Okay, we're going to have to do this in a different way. Hold on for a second. Let's get back here. And we will say, we'll take Dr. Alvaro, and we'll throw that son of a bitch in there and let that search and see. Brooks School of Public Policy, that Alvaro Salas Castro is part of. Reynolds Foundation. Here's Bitcoin. Somebody, the Reynolds Foundation. Thank you for the part. Is this Reynolds Foundation now for tomorrow? An empowered community has no limits. Not telling me much about who you are, Reynolds Foundation. I don't know, man. I'm at reynoldsfoundation.com, and I literally know nothing about Reynolds Foundation. Nothing. Hey, but they donated $1 million. All right, so what do I think about it in context of the OpenSats controversy that's been going on? Honestly, right now, as of this moment, I don't care. I don't care. I will care later. When I get the time to care, you'll be the first people to know. I will tell you, I will call you, and I will tell you that I care about the Reynolds Foundation. But first of all, the Liquid Wallet Kit. Liquid Wallets Made Easy. It's a collection of Rust tools to build liquid wallets. The goal of the Liquid Wallet Kit is to provide all the necessary building blocks for liquid wallet application development and simplify the life of developers by addressing common pain points of the current tooling. So that's the last up for today, is Liquid Wallet Kit. You can love Liquid sidechain, you can hate it, you can be neutral on it like I am. I don't, honestly, right now, I kind of don't care. Kind of in the Reynolds Foundation frame of mind. I don't give a shit. Because it's like, that website, the reynoldsfoundation.com or .org website was the worst website I've ever seen. It literally is one page. It has no contact information. It doesn't tell me what it is that they do. I hate that. But I'm in the Reynolds Foundation state of mind when it comes to Liquid as well. I don't care. However, they are releasing open source tools. That's good to know. I'm grateful that they are actually doing that. But, you know, it is what it is. All right, so we are well over our allotted time of 1 hour. I'm trying to keep, I swore to God I was going to do a 30-minute show this morning. Yeah. Okay. All right. Before I let you go, I got to say hello to my friend Kid Warp, who I have not seen in the chat in a while. In living color, Kid Warp with the answer. It was in living color. It was actually a really, really good show. It was hilarious. And it was Fire Chief Bob? I can't remember the character's name that Jim Carrey did, but that's where Jim Carrey got famous. In case you didn't know, was in living color. He was one of the characters on in living color. Hilarious. And that's one of the places where he got his start. I don't know if that's where he got his start, because In Living Color was kind of a big deal. Everybody was watching it. But that definitely was the stepping stone for the rest of his career. After In Living Color, Jim Carrey went ballistic, went super stratospheric because of In Living Color. That's where Jim Carrey came. We have to wait till they act in bad faith to start giving them grief. Kid Warp, I don't know exactly who you're talking about. If you're talking about OpenSats, I agree, but honestly, that sentiment, that goes for everyone. Reynolds Foundation, OpenSats, 1031, Ethereum Foundation, but they've already acted in bad faith, so we already know they're scumbags. The United States government, well, they've been acting in bad faith since we hit the shores of this particular continent, so there you go. Yeah, we have to wait until they give us a reason. Until that time, could you throw a little support to the people that are trying to actually help? If it turns out that you gave your positive energy over to somebody that didn't deserve it, that's okay. It's the positive energy that actually makes the difference, not who you gave it to. So get out there, give positive energy, and I will see you on the other side. Good to see you, Kid Warp. Kind of missing you the last couple of times, man. All right. Finish that up, and I will go ahead and let you guys go.